Everything in our existence is made of energy. I'm made of energy, you're made of energy, a tree is made of energy, the entire forest is made of energy. It is because of the fact that we are all made of the same energy that all sentient beings are telepathically connected with each other all the time. Most of us are not picking up on what other people are dishing out, energetically speaking, because we're wrapped up in our own thoughts and we're entangled with our own emotions a little bit too much. A telepathic connection is possible between you and any and all sentient beings that exist currently. Anything that's alive, anything that has awareness flowing through it, you and that entity can become telepathically connected. The most common form of telepathy is just empathy. Because every sentient being is made of energy, every time a sentient being is feeling an emotion or having a thought that creates an emotional state, they are emanating that energy outward. And any and all sentient beings that are around them are capable of empathically picking up on the vibe that that person or thing is dishing out. Every time a person or a living thing or a sentient being has a thought in their head, in their mind, it creates an emotional state accordingly. Every single thought creates some kind of an emotional state. As long as the sentient being is aware of that thought, it's creating an emotion. And most likely, if you're sensitive enough, you're going to pick up on that person's emotions. So the first form of telepathy that you're probably experiencing yourself, if you're a highly sensitive person or if you're empathic at all, is you're picking up on other people's emotions. When it comes to picking up on actual thoughts, there are two ways, in my personal experience, there are two ways that you can pick up on somebody's actual thought that they're having. The first one is, if you know the person well enough, if you know the person's pattern of cognition and pattern of thought and patterns of speech well enough, and you're feeling what they're feeling, you're empathically picking up on their emotions, you can surmise and assume the thought that was going through their mind that created that emotion. And more often than not, if you're sensitive enough, if you're energetically sensitive enough, you'll be able to accurately assume the exact thought that was going through their head. And frequently, they'll even say the thought. They'll speak it out loud and confirm it with you, and you'll be able to know, like, I was picking up on I knew that that's what they were thinking. The second way that you pick up on somebody else's thoughts is that you have to be hyper sensitive yourself. The best way to clear your energy, get out of your own head, and stop distracting yourself with your own thought stream is to meditate. Meditation will bring you into an internal state of complete stillness where you're hypersensitive to all things around you and all things going on in the ether of our existence. Other examples that we all experience on a pretty regular basis are you'll be thinking about somebody, whether it's intentional or not, and then they'll call you or text you. And it'll be somebody that you maybe haven't even spoken to in months or even years. For some reason, they're on your mind, you don't know why, and then boom, there's a text message from them. Another example would be when you are feeling particularly compelled to reach out to a person. It feels as though somebody else from a distance, somebody who's not within your physical orbit, is pulling on your energy and asking you to call them. It feels like they are calling you telepathically. When you feel overwhelmingly compelled to reach out to a person, and particularly when you're not even in the mood to talk to them, that's typically somebody telepathically calling for you and trying to get you to reach out to them. If you're sensitive enough, most likely by meditating pretty regularly, you'll be able to actually pick up on somebody else's thoughts. Again, first you're going to pick up on their emotion, and the second thing that's going to happen is their thought is going to go through your head as if it's your own thought. The only way for you to know for sure that it's not your thought and you're picking up on somebody else's thoughts, you've got to be very mindfully aware of your own thought stream. You have to be hyper vigilant about watching your own thoughts and knowing which thought creates the next thought, creates the next thought, creates the next thought. So when something goes through your head and it's not coming from your thought stream, you're picking up on somebody else's thoughts. In my own personal experience, telepathy is strongest when a person is thinking about you or when you're thinking about a person. Anytime somebody's thinking about you, they are beaming energy in your direction, wherever you are geographically. You could be on the other side of the planet, and if somebody's thinking about you and you're sensitive enough to it, and you're receptive enough to it, you'll pick up on it and you'll feel it. The way that you experience another person thinking about you telepathically is they'll end up on your mind without you initially thinking about them. Nothing that you're thinking and nothing that you're doing triggers the thought about a person. You're completely wrapped up in whatever you're doing, completely distracted by whatever you're doing, and all of a sudden this person is on your mind and it feels like they're right in front of you. You can see their face in your mind's eye. You end up having conversations with them in your head. that's typically a sign that somebody's thinking about you. Another example is you'll be talking to somebody in person, somebody might even be near you or right next to you, and you either finish their sentence without knowing ahead of time what exactly the end of that sentence is going to be. Your own thought emerges and you spit it out into the conversation and you finish their sentence for them. Or you both say the same word or use the same phrase at the same time in a very unpredictable way. It's not something that both of you knew was coming. It's something that happens very spontaneously. Frequently, I'll be working with a person and I'll have something on my mind that I'm thinking about that I have not shared with them, and they will bring it up in the conversation. It freaks me out so much that every time it happens, I ask them, how did you know that that's what I was thinking about? And they're like, yeah, it's telepathy. It's because I'm thinking something, because I'm having thoughts that are creating an emotional state, I'm emanating energy outward into the world. The person who's near me is picking up on that energy and even picking up on my thought, and they feel compelled to bring that subject up and start talking about it.